My name is Rachel. This is Ben. We are the co-owners of OnSight Firearms Training, and we're really excited to talk about what we carry every day here at the Big Tex Ordnance studio. I will lean into the fact that I get to carry a bag too, but let's start with the biggest and most obvious thing that we carry. The defensive tools, our primary defensive tools, should we need to use them, are gonna be our pistols that we carry every day. What do you have?
So I'm running a Gen 5 17 Surefire 300 turbo on it. My current favorite light for weapon-mounted pistols, pistol light. Holosun 507 comp, green dot, not the red dot. I prefer the green. And
really? Green?
Yeah,
You?
no, it's wild, right? Crazy. And I also run the Surefire DG switch on here just for the ease, single hand shooting, or so I can still form a good solid grip on the gun and activate that light when I need to.
Now, I'm going to ask you this question. I mean, I know the answer, but just so that everybody has this information, is that a direct mount, or is that an MOS gun? Or
So this is not an MOS slide. This was just a regular factory OEM 17 slide that I had sent out to our buddies up in Michigan, ATEI Guns, Mr. Douglas Holloway. He did the cut for the optic and mounted the optic, so this thing is never coming off. And also did the top serrations on here. Also on here, I'm running the Stealth Series Night Fishing Co-Witness night sights on here.
I mean, the reason why I bring up the cut is because I think people frequently ask the question still this day about, listen, my everyday carry pistol's got an optic on it. I've seen them fly off at ranges. Mounting them is an incredibly important process. Don't disrespect the mounting of your optic, but certainly if it's going to be a gun that you're carrying every day, you want to ensure that it actually is mounted correctly. And definitely, I would say Doug is one of the people that I would recommend to have install your optics. I don't quite have the same setup that you have, similar. I'm also carrying a Glock product. The two of us are frequently traveling together, so it's not unusual for us to want to try and carry a gun that's similar, maybe take the same mags, et cetera, et cetera. So I have a Glock 19. This is a Gen 5 Glock 19. This is an MOS gun, but I went with the forward controls plate for this. And I have on top a 508T. You can kind of see all the burnishing here. This is from wearing a zipper front hoodie once. Usually I'm in my OFT hoodie, which doesn't have a zipper, but this is my primary carry EDC. I do have the Radian ramjet on the front. I've found that I've really liked the comp. It's been great.
It's like a 17.
It does shoot like a 17. So 19s shoot a little bit. They give you a little bit more felt recoil. I'm only going to say felt because, again, it's different for everybody. But I dropped this on there probably a few months after they were available, and I enjoy it. I have shot some in close work with this. I think it's important. If you're going to put something that sends gas up, you do need to experience that and understand what that does to you so it doesn't surprise you when it's the last thing you want to be surprised by. Let's see some other things. So this is a green dot as well. I have an astigmatism. I'm cross dominant. I got everything going on, but that works really well for me. So no big deal. I do have night sights on my gun. I would say that I primarily don't use my night sights for sighting, right? So I've got an optic on here. The sight presentation is going to be threat focused. I'm not involving my sights in that, but what I do use these for, like as I mentioned, we travel a lot, is for locating the gun. So the tritium lamps give me an indication when this is on like a tabletop, anything when I'm like asleep in a hotel room. It's a clear indication of where this gun is. People have probably heard me say that before when I've been discussing what you put on your EDC gun. I do believe in that because I've directly had that experience multiple times. Moving down the gun, I also have had some stippling work done that I did myself, and then I added in the Howie's tape because I really like the tactile element of it. It doesn't catch on shirts. And for me, when I'm carrying this pistol, which is my everyday carry. I want to make sure that I try and carry in a setup that offers me the biggest possible gun that I can, but also that doesn't grab onto everything. So I do like the Howie's tape. It survived me. I think we both shoot quite a bit, and anything else besides stippling usually tends to kind of die off quickly. I also have a U-boat on the front of my gun. This has become a hot topic recently. What I will say about this is part of it was an experiment. I just wanted to see, hey, I got this really awesome holster that from a company I really enjoy, which is Tenicor, and I was like, let me see if I can do this. More than anything, do I need a light? Okay, so this is what has become a hot topic, right? Do you need a light on the gun? So this is not for searching and scanning, and I think this is where people get this very confused. This is not for looking and finding out what might be out there. This is to remain clear on what your threat is. That's essentially what a weapon-mounted light is doing for you. We live in the middle of the woods, and we lose power frequently, and unfortunately, our dog recently passed. Rip Remy, he was the best dog ever. But there were coyotes in the backyard, and if anything happened, I wanted to be able to see if I did have to get this pistol out. And so it was partially an experiment. I wanted to see if I could conceal it. 5'3", female. And then the other half of it is there's some world application for me to be able to ID what I'm looking at in a very dark environment.
Yeah, it's never a question of what you need. It's
a
question of what you want, and that's what's most important for each person out there is what do you really want to carry, what do you really want on your gun, and make those arrangements.
Yeah, have a reason for it.
Based on your needs or your wants, but not on what somebody tells you on
For sure. I do have a magwell on my gun. This is the Edgar Sherman magwell. I did make a little bit of a kind of machining upgrade here for me to make sure that all my mags fit in there. Guys, don't be surprised on Glocks, even though they're supposed to be drop-in, that you have to make some adjustments so that it works for you. But I will say, just putting like a magwell on your pistol without actually training with it, it could put you in a really tough situation. So all of this gear gets used because I don't want to stumble upon these problems while I'm trying to save my life. And I stumbled upon the fact that a couple of my mags didn't seat with this magwell. I like the magwell, so I went and I Dremeled it. But I'd rather have that decision made in a calm environment.
I had a grip reduction done by my buddy Brad over at Great Lakes Custom Gun Works in Michigan as well. And due to the grip reduction, I can't fit a magwell on here, but I like the grip reduction because it definitely gives me better purchase on this lower portion of the gun. And if that's the way I'm going with the grip reduction minus the magwell, I'm just getting reps on mags in and out of the gun constantly. So dry fire routine, step up your game a little bit.
So another thing that we get asked quite frequently is like, hey, what do? You have diminished capacity mags. Because guys, if you didn't know what, we're based out of New York. That's where we live. And we can own pistols in the state of New York. So one of the things you're gonna see here is a number of magazines. And that's because if we're going to have diminished capacity, we're going to try and solve the problem for who our bad guy is, who does not follow any of the rules. I mean, again, they're already committing a crime. They're already committing something that we reasonably believe they're going to do serious bodily harm to us. So they're not like checking up on any of those rule sets. So you're going to see us carrying multiple mags. That's pretty normal for us. I think other things that you're going to see on the table here, I think we always show up with some sort of edge element, primarily used for utility, but knives are really, really nasty things. Wouldn't you agree?
Love it.
But I would say, yes, of course it's used for utility primarily, but here's the thing about knives. They have a lot less bias and they don't really require much training to do a serious amount of damage. Yes, there are edged weapon programs out there where you can become more proficient, more efficient at working with a blade. But these are things that you can buy in home stores. You can buy in any hardware store. I mean, they're available everywhere. So just be aware of the fact that that's a pretty common tool set, also used by the quote unquote bad guys. And you have two different knives. Why is that?
Because I have two different hands and two different pockets.
Sure.
The interesting thing about knives, though, is you don't need a huge knife.
No, you don't.
A 2-inch blade, even a 1.5-inch blade, 1-inch blade, can do serious damage to somebody placed in the right location on the body. People seem to think, oh, I need this big 6-inch fixed blade knife. You really don't. You can do insane amounts of damage in a self-defense situation with a smaller knife that is easier also to carry.
Yeah, I'm normally carrying knives by Glow Rhino, but I do have this like tiny Spyderco knife for a reason. I generally have a variety of different jeans that I'm wearing, and a lot of them have very, very shallow front pockets, and that's a pretty common refrain in female apparel. So this knife is small enough, but still effective enough to be carried in my pockets without being yeeted out of it every time I make a step forward or sit in a chair. So the size there is kind of a balance between usefulness and something that won't go flying out.
Cool.
These little guys,
Love
we have to talk about these little guys. These are Holosun keys, guys. They're for our optics to make adjustments, tighten things, check things. You should have witness marks on any optic that you have mounted on your pistol, so you better understand if the mounting screws start to walk. But one of the advantages of optics is that if you see that today, a particular windage adjustment needs to be made so that you can continue to land your most accurate hits, having one of these tools is going to be important to have. So. That's the advantage of optics, is you can make these changes.
If you teach classes, travel with several of them. I usually start a class with about 5 or 6 of these, and after lending them out throughout the day, I end up going home with about 3 of them, and 3 other people in the class get a free key.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
You can return those anytime you want.
I'm glad that they keep putting these in to every single box.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys have at home, but some of us who carry guns a lot will have in the laundry room the Lucy's kind of basket where you find extra rounds. There's also quite a few of these Holosun keys in our Lucy's basket as well.
9mm, and 30 rounds in there.
So speaking of laundry rooms where it can sometimes be dark, we absolutely carry handheld lights. Now, I know we talked a little bit about the weapon-mounted lights and what they're for. What should not be absent from your EDC is something that will give you the ability to search and scan and assess and be able to see your environment and confirm whether or not there either is a bad guy in the environment or what they have in their hands, whether or not they're a threat, all of that. And then just basic information, like you want to be able to see whether or not somebody left their shoes there so they don't want to fall down and break your neck, right? All of that stuff where light is needed, a handheld light is going to be very, very important. We both have mod lights, although recently I got a cloud defensive light. I like them both.
There's that big debate, Streamlight, Surefire, Cloud Defensive, Mod Light. Everyone's like, oh, Streamlight's better than Surefire, Surefire's better than this. I don't really care. I do like Mod Lights, Surefires, Cloud Defensive. I got a couple Streamlights that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
There's options out there, and you can purchase them based on your needs, your wants, and your finances.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not everybody can go and drop close to $400 on a flashlight.
Yeah.
Most people don't understand why they would need to buy a $400 flashlight. So there are options out there.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the one thing that I'll kind of emphasize is that these go with you everywhere. I have to get on planes frequently, and all the rest of this stuff can't come with me, but this guy can go. I don't have to deal with leaving one of these guys in the car if I have to go in a courthouse. Any one of these non-provision environments that don't allow weapons will generally allow you to carry a flashlight in there. So useful for a couple different reasons. Number one, it's got a solid steel body on both of these really high quality lights, but they send a lot of light, and they're so bright that I'll go ahead and say, like, I'll try and use that as any way to give me an opportunity to leave a situation. What I have on here for the ability to retain them are, in this particular one, I don't know if this is in production anymore. This is one of the early Raven concealment clips. again, ladies' clothing tends to be a little bit smaller as far as your pocket depth. So I was looking for something slim. I also have a Glow Rhino Spark on here because this light body is black. And when you need light and you're looking for a black flashlight, it's a little brutal. So this is a tritium indicator that lets me find it when it's dark. I do like that Cloud Defensive offers their light body in a brighter color, right? This is their orange. It helps me find it a little bit easier when I'm like digging through stuff and trying to find the light that I need.
I like the retention ring. You guys can get these from retentionring.com. That's our buddy Daniel Easterday's company. Very cool. In case you need to work something with your pistol, you don't have to drop your light. You can get right back on the light, get right back to work with it. In low light classes, number one question is, what do I do with the light when I have to either change mags, fix the gun, clear malfunctions, whatever it is? This retention ring's a good option to not having to drop the flashlight or stuff it in a pocket or stick it under your arm or stick it in your mouth or wherever else you want to stick it. It's a good way to retain the light, hence the name, and get all that other stuff.
Also very slim, right? So it collapses down, doesn't take up a lot of your pocket space. When we're talking about the last things on the table here, they are certainly not the least important things. In fact, one would argue that, not the last things, but
that's some other good stuff.
on my side, for sure, it's medical. So again, I try and carry anything that I absolutely need, especially under pressure, especially if I'm trying to describe this to someone, like go get that black fabric thing is going to be a little rough. And when my cat tourniquet is a bright color, if I have to communicate that with anybody, it's pretty easy to call it out. When I'm looking for something like this, I want to be able to easily find it. I know black is very tactical, but the reality is I'm a civilian in civilian life, so I want to be able to ensure that this works in my everyday as well. I have a little bit more than just this particular packed gauze, but majority of the rest of the med kit that I do carry is, gloves, gauze. I'll use whatever I can for a seal. I can carry a seal in my bag, and I take advantage of. It's pretty common to see ladies with handbags, and I primarily have extra mags and med kit in there. But that's for the most part what rounds out my EDC. I know you said you have a couple more things.
Yeah, so I'm running a soft T in the Wilder Tactical TQ carrier today. This just slides in the pocket. The carrier isn't necessarily for the belt, it's just to keep everything a little bit more contained. I'll run a soft T, I'll run a cat tourniquet, either of the two. Sometimes I'll carry both. You never know what might happen. We work outdoors a lot. So one of the things that happens a lot, we're outside, summer months, hot months, humid months, some sort of chapstick or lip protectant to keep these lips nice and full and healthy and juicy. I also carry...
They ran away, bring them back.
Yeah, right. Also carry one of these nice thick black Sharpies, and this goes with me everywhere along with the flashlight, because there are places where we can't bring guns and knives, and I don't want to be without something to use. So the black Sharpie, while it is great to mark all your misses on your students' targets, or to number your targets, or to score and grade things, it also works as a great blunt force instrument to the eye socket, the throat, the ribs, the groin, anywhere that you want to drive this in the event that you are not able to bring your gun and you find yourself in a self-defense situation. These go with me on airplanes. And the only thing that I ever had to deal with was one TSA agent took the flashlight out of my carry-on and goes, What's the flashlight for? And with my best sarcastic dry humor, I just said, in case it gets dark. And he goes, oh, okay. Drops it back in. Doesn't say a thing about the EMT kit that's on the front of my backpack with a decompression needle, EMT shears, all kinds of other stuff in there, but they picked out the flashlight.
So, go ahead.
Sorry, last but not least, we spend a lot of time on the range. We spend a lot of time handling guns and ammunition, and then usually leave the range or leave whatever work session we were doing, we'll go grab some food someplace. Having some of these in your pocket, the D-wipes, to get that lead and other hazardous materials and metals off of your skin so they don't seep into your pores or get all over your food before you ingest it. Great option to have as well. Your health and safety are just as important for yourself as it is in a self-defense situation.
So we have a lot of kit here, we know that, but I just want for you guys to understand there are a lot of incredible options out there, but when we kind of think about a summarization of everything, primary defensive tool, ideally some mags should you run into issues with your ammunition, with your gun. Carrying one mag is a really stunted way to approach a lot of complex problems that might be dealt your way. But you do want to have at least 2 mags at the very least for any kind of malfunction that might come into play. Having some sort of medical kit with you is awesome, but you do need to know how to use it. So this is not a situation where you can just go to a counter the same way that you can go and buy a knife and then put it in your pocket and be ready to go. With anything on the medical stuff, we encourage you to go get the training and understand how to apply these things correctly so that they actually can offer you life-saving capability. Absolutely. But our main goal with everything that we carry is to try and carry as much gun that you can, and that is going to be investing in a number of different holsters. Tenicor works really well for me. Raven might work for you. Darkstar might work for you. Filster might work for you. Expect to go through a number of different quality brands before you find the right equation for you. Right now I'm running the Hunter Constantine belt. I really like it because there's no Velcro when I go to the ladies' room. It's not like when I have to go to the bathroom, and it's just working out really well for me. But again, finding the right belt, holster, and gun equation requires some time, some effort, but it's worth it, guys. And the confidence that it brings when you train with these on a regular basis in class just offers you a little less stress and what will be a profoundly stressful situation.
Thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you on the range. You can find us at www.oftllc.us. And obviously, a big thanks to Big Tex Ordnance for having us here. You guys can look them up, bigtexordnance.com, for all of your EDC or general firearm needs. Thank you.